Welcome to the Filmcast review of The Bride. I'm going to read the plot summary of this film from IMDb. In 1930 Chicago, Frankenstein asks Dr. Euphonius to help create a companion. They give life to a murdered woman as the bride, sparking romance, police interest, and radical social change. End quote. The Bride is a film that cost around $80 to $90 million and performed disastrously at the box office this weekend, making only $13.6 million worldwide, of which 7.3 was domestic. It's estimated that Warner Brothers is probably going to lose around $90 million on this film. So definitely a financial catastrophe. But the question is, sometimes, here's the thing. Sometimes the public doesn't recognize greatness in its time. Mm-hmm. And maybe the movie deserves better than it performed at the box office. Devindra Hardawar, what do you think? Did The Bride deserve better at the box office this last weekend?
No, I think the public's pretty spot on this one. The thing about The Bride is that I've been a little suspicious about this movie ever since the trailer first appeared, because it's this really kinetic, highly stylized trailer. Oh, Maggie Gyllenhaal is doing a movie about sort of the Bride of Frankenstein. It's Christian Bale. It's frickin' Jesse Buckley. Like, it was a very, I would say, overcranked trailer. And there are times where I'm like, oh, feels like you're trying to really sell something here that is maybe not actually in the movie itself. So I think the Bride made for a really fun trailer and really stylistic trailer. And there are some good bits in this movie. I think specifically Jesse Buckley and Christian Bale just being a little unhinged, playing these characters. He is Frank the monster. And she is the Bride of Frankenstein. Like, there is some good stuff in here.
By the way, setting back the dialogue of, is it Frankenstein or Frankenstein's monster back by like decades?
He took on the name. That's all.
His name is Frank in the movie. Way to increase the confusion there, Christian Bale. Thanks.
So
for that.
Confusing.
It's Christian Bale's fault.
Yeah,
but this movie is just like way too much and unfocused and like overly stylized to the point where like I don't know what it's trying to be or what story it's trying to tell. There's just a lot going on here, and there's a lot that's like vaguely entertaining. Like I said, think Jesse Buckley. I will watch her in anything. This is sort of like you see Jesse Buckley just going crazy for 2 hours. That's fine. It's sort of entertaining. Penelope Cruz and Peter Skarsgård in this too. Penelope Cruz is a detective, and I quite liked her role there. But the actual like mechanics of this movie don't make sense. There's stuff we could talk about in spoilers, but there's the idea of like frickin' Mary Shelley is a part of this movie.
Here, Devindra. Let me read to you from the first paragraph of the plot summary of this film from Wikipedia. Okay, speaking from the afterlife, Mary Shelley says she has a story she wanted to tell after the book Frankenstein, but could not due to her death. To tell it, she possesses Ida, a woman living in 1936 Chicago, who in her trance proceeds to discuss the criminal activities of mob boss Lupino.
As one does.
Lupino's henchmen, Clyde and James, discreetly kill her afterwards. Quote. That is
it's like too much. And it doesn't make sense. It's the spirit of Mary Shelley, but it's also taking place in a universe where Dr. Frankenstein actually existed.
Yes, like, and then, but also Devindra, not in the time period of Frankenstein, for some reason in 1936 Chicago.
Well, but also they're like they adjust that. They're like, you should be 100 years old. And yes, it kind of reflects all that. But it doesn't make sense. Yeah. It's an author talking about their book, but now the characters exist in the real. You lost me in 5 minutes, movie. Like,
as incoherent as that paragraph that you read of description was, the movie is less coherent than that.
Absolutely.
The beginning of the movie is less like you get a realization much later that that's what happened at in the first 20 minutes of the movie, but in the context of the movie, not so much.
I mean, it's kind of there, but it's also like, what would make this movie even better? Not even doing that. Yeah. Not even confusing. Yes. If the Mary Shelley stuff was not even in here, you don't need it. It doesn't add anything to this movie. Just cut that out and focus on like, this is a reinterpretation of The Bride of Frankenstein. We are grown-ups as an audience. We can just deal with that. My kids can jump into Spider-Man within any timeline, be like, that's Spider-Man. I get it. I know what's going on here. There are webs. He's fighting crime. I get it. What is funny is that this movie is essentially fan fiction, sort of in the way that Wuthering Heights was like a fan fiction reinterpretation of that. This is like a Bride of Frankenstein fan fiction that's sort of like trying to re-emphasize the sort of like feminist ideas of telling that story or of that character, even though Mary Shelley was already doing that in the original Frankenstein, because Mary Shelley was a genius, and you should just read that book. It is wild to me how this movie just like throws so much at the wall and doesn't make any of it stick. There are dance sequences. There are like, I don't understand the motivations for some of these characters. Even the basic thing of what you just described, the gangsters killed her. It was an accident. They didn't even like purposefully kill her for a specific reason. It was just an accident. So it's not even like she's out here like the bride from Kill Bill seeking revenge. She just died.
But she was also literally, the guy thought she was being possessed by a demon.
The guy was
because guess what? She was being possessed by a demon.
In the 30s, sure. They could probably clock that pretty easily in the 1930s. But also, at least the motivation for the killing, the motivation for starting this entire story, there is none. She slipped on some stairs. What are you doing, movie?
What are you doing, movie?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Jeff Canada, your thoughts on The Bride?
Well, Dave, you can probably tell what my thoughts on The Bride are, but they are best summed up in the form of a limerick. This film couldn't seem to decide where it wanted its plot to reside. A movie monster satire, a Me Too amplifier, or a Frankenstein Bonnie and Clyde.
Nice, Jeff. Very nicely done.
You thought I was going to rhyme bride, but I didn't. If Devindra is 100% correct, this movie is a total mess. Total mess. There are too many layers. It doesn't know at all what it wants to be. It's like throwing so many things at the wall that none of them work. None of them make sense. It did remind me, as I said in the intro of our show, it did remind me of Joker Folie à Deux, in that it wants to sort of be this screed. There's so many similarities between this movie and that movie. I will tell you, there's dance numbers that come out of nowhere for no reason. There's like a populist uprising that is inspired by the main character's face paint. There's a lot of similarities.
Right.
And another similarity is that neither of those movies worked at all for me. There is a phenomenon that I am very familiar with, have experienced many, many times as somebody who has, trained as an actor, known lots of actors, worked with lots of actors. Actors love acting, and they love actors who act. And I have not seen Maggie Gyllenhaal's first directorial movie, and I don't know this to be true, but it seems to me that, boy, Maggie Gyllenhaal loves actors who act. And it seems to me, in the creation of this film, got really seduced by actors just given a gonzo performance and more of that. Yes, go farther, do it. And Jessie Buckley is acting 100%. More than 100%. There's tons of great actors in this, and all of them are Christian Bale is like doing a thing. Everybody's doing a thing.
Maggie Gyllenhaal's brother, Maggie Gyllenhaal's husband, the whole family's in
the whole family's in this. Yes. None of it works. I mean, there is a tiny little fraction of this movie. This like Penelope Cruz as the detective in a time where women couldn't be detective thing. Like, if that was its own movie, it had nothing to do with Frankenstein. And I'm interested in that character. Like the woman who has to sort of pretend to be the secretary, but secretly solves all the crimes. Like, that's a fun concept for a movie. It's barely any of this movie, but it's a cool thing. I'm into that movie. Let's watch that. I like Penelope Cruz. She's great. I love watching Annette Bening work in this movie too. Again, the movie's terrible in my opinion, but you get actors acting, and the problem is that it feels so indulgent in the just gonzo performance thing. It's like, yes, go more, go more, go more, which is not good for the storytelling. And it rarely is, you need to have constraints. You need to have really strong framework to house a gonzo performance, in my opinion, for it to actually work. you'll see that sometimes. You'll get these really incredible gonzo, these wild, takes, these characters in a film that are barely constrained by the movie. This movie does not constrain its characters at all. It is just off the rails, in my opinion, and none of it works. Like you said, Devindra, this Mary Shelley thing just feels like, hey, look at Jessie Buckley can do this weird possession gimmick, and look at her fun accents that she can bop in and out of. It's impressive, but does it serve the story? No. And almost at any point in this movie, does what anybody is doing on screen serve the story? No. Do I, at any point of this film, have any sense of what the main character wants? No. At no point do I have any. I know what Frankenstein wants, kind of, but at no point the main character of this movie, whatever you want to call her, the bride, I have no idea what she wants. And at the end of the movie, which I won't spoil at all right here, but like, she sort of makes this big 180 and now wants a thing that I didn't think she wanted the whole time. Like, I had no idea what she wanted. So the movie just fails on a basic storytelling level for me, and just feels like a very self-indulgent masturbatory exercise in wild acting, which I, as somebody who has lived through many self-indulgent masturbatory theater experiences and I have very little patience for. So I did not like this movie at all.
Yep.
I had a very similar experience. I think I mostly found the movie to be quite disorienting, and it would do this thing where I would finally start to figure out what is actually happening in the film, and then it would just all of a sudden change modes. So as an example, like we just talked about the opening scene, and I'm like, okay, so in my head, I'm putting it together like, all right, so it's Mary Shelley, but it's in a world where the Frankenstein story that she wrote actually exists in the real world. And then now she's possessing this woman, and then she's just saying, she's kind of like a human thesaurus where she's like saying synonyms for words that Ida is saying, but in a British accent, and that's how you know it's her. And then in the Harley Quinn accent is like the actual woman. And then it's like really like right when I like kind of put that all together, it's like, oh, and now we're changing it. Now she's a social justice warrior, she's leading a whole thing. Now we're focusing on Dr. Frankenstein. Now this is a police detective procedural movie, or like the whole idea. First of all, the whole Frankenstein wanting to find a mate, like that in and of itself is kind of interesting, and the idea of wanting to do a feminist reimagining of that story, I think, is worthwhile.
In the book, by the way, that's just from the book. Yeah.
But then like trying to be like, and by the way, she's inspiring people to rise up against the existing social order, and also now there's a police procedural story. It just feels like they tried to like throw everything, as you said, against the wall and see what sticks. They're just every single idea was put into this film without any consideration for how you need to like develop these ideas and give them space and have them play out, as opposed to just like, hey, maybe we should make her like, she should inspire the masses of women. They should all have that mark next to her, maybe we should have this feminist story about how it's the women detectives that are really doing all the work. And it's like, okay, like I'm not against any of those aims in concept, but in order for that to be successful, the movie needs to actually feel like it's telling a coherent story, and like each of these individual subplots are getting their getting time to be fleshed out and getting their time in the sun. And I think the movie just utterly fails at that, unfortunately. So I also kind of agree with you guys that this was sadly not very good. But I will say this, I thought the movie looked very good. The movie cost around $80-90 million. And I do think it's all up there on screen. Like, I do think it does look like they put a lot of work and time and effort into this film. I will say that I did not feel like chemistry is a very hard thing to define, but I did not think that Jessie Buckley and Christian Bale had any chemistry together, personally.
Yeah.
Like, and that can go a long way. Like, that can like really basically save a film if it's like, oh, the movie around them is challenging, but like Jesse Buckley and Christian Bale, like they work together. I don't think they really work together. Like, it feels like they're in kind of two different films almost.
Think of like Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway in Bonnie and Clyde, which
Yeah.
this movie is just trying to be. You're really trying to force that, and it's not there. Yeah.
Or Sid and Nancy, like it wants to be Sid and Nancy, it wants to be Bonnie and Clyde, and it fails spectacularly in those goals, in my opinion. And I have more to say in spoilers about the relationship too, but I totally agree that it does not work.
I do kind of wonder, like, this movie was apparently delayed for a year. Like, I think people realize it may be kind of messy, but I've never seen a movie lose an audience in the first 5 minutes so hard. Or at least be completely like, what are you doing? Why are we here? Why are we doing this? I do wonder, like, if any of that feedback was ever, given to Maggie Gyllenhaal or something. Like, I wonder where this kind of went wrong, because now it's kind of like a fascinating mess to me.
The Mary Shelley possession thing is so superfluous to any other part of this movie, but it could have been a really fascinating concept to explore. But like, there's other fantastical elements that sort of take center stage, and for large swaths of this movie, it just is forgotten about. The whole Mary Shelley thing is just forgotten about, and it's like, what point was that? It's very incoherent.
It's also like, it's Mary Shelley, but the reality of a world where Dr. Frankenstein actually existed, and there were stories about his experiment. Like, how do you combine those? How does that work?
I'm gonna put this out there, guys.
Yeah.
If I was a writer who had died and went to hell, and then I was able to possess a random person who lived in a world where my books actually existed in real life, I would be freaking out about that the whole time. I'd be like, wait a second, like, this character
it's not even,
like, exists.
I don't even think it's the book. I think it actually existed. I'm saying the actual happenings of what happened in the story of Frankenstein.
Yeah, like
existed.
She wrote a true crime novel
basically,
in the context of this movie.
The doctor refers to Dr. Frankenstein's work as sort of like a thing that happened. So confusing to say
the least.
But I'm saying in Mary Shelley's, like, rewind time for Mary Shelley, like, in her universe, the Dr. Frankenstein stuff did not happen, right? Like,
we're saying it seems like what she wrote was a firsthand account of stuff that really went down.
That's kind of
the context of this movie. It seems like Mary Shelley.
It's so confusing.
Created a historical record, basically.
Yeah.
Well,
and then
either that, or she's sort of imagining her world as the real world.
Yeah, that's what I assumed. I assumed it was the latter.
Right. So then she's not like, there's no like inhabiting a real world. It's just her own imagining.
Then it's dream space
running wild.
Yeah.
I felt like what I got this sense of her sort of beyond death feeling wronged by men in general and wanting to sort of shoehorn her own universe into this feminist screed about the various ways women have been wronged, and and I mean, I think that's the through line of the movie, is that here is this woman who finally, like, because she has been reanimated, no longer gives a shit and will stand up and say the things that you're not supposed to say. Like, you're not supposed to rat out the mob bosses. You're not supposed to, say, you're not supposed to be this strong kind of independent woman. If the whole concept of, like, you're just a bride, you have no name, you're defined by being the accessory to Frankenstein, and all of a sudden now we're going to infuse you with your own identity for once. And what is the whole beginning of the movie is, what is your name? Well, you'll tell me your name at a certain point. But again, all of this is so incoherent and messy that it loses any kind of impact at all.
It's a strange thing, Jeff, where I feel like all that stuff you just said, which is well stated, is a worthwhile exercise. Like,
yes, I agree with that too.
That is actually, like, worth doing, and yet how this film goes about doing it is in a way that I think really fails to connect with most audiences, it seems.
Yeah.
So the movie got a C+ cinema score, which is pretty rough. This is not going to be one where word of mouth is going to drive it to success. And yeah, I support the movie's aims, but not its methods. That's the problem. Devindra, what are you going to say?
I mean, again, You don't need to reimagine Mary Shelley as a feminist writer and as a woman doing things that people say women shouldn't do. She did that in her lifetime, in her book, in the book Frankenstein, too. And also in the way she lived. So it's like she was already kind of a wild person who was not like constrained by societal norms to many degrees. So again, what are we doing here then?
I would put by the way, Jessie Buckley as like the best actor who's been in almost no movies I like. I really liked Women Talking.
Yes.
That's the only movie she's been in that I liked. Although I haven't seen a couple of them, but most of the movies that she's been in, I really do not like, even though I think she's immensely talented.
I will say, Jeff, I think, first of all, I really loved I'm Thinking of Ending Things as well. I thought she was amazing in that. But I think The Lost Daughter is actually a really good film. It was nominated for Academy Awards.
Maggie Gyllenhaal's first movie, right?
Right. In my opinion, could not be more different than this film. Like very, very understated, very subtle in many ways, and big fan. So do not let your aversion for The Bride ! Turn you off from checking out The Lost Daughter, which I think is remains.
The Bride, Hamnet. What else? Men, like very few movies she's been in. I like.
She was in Chernobyl. She was great in Chernobyl. Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't even watch Fingernails.
I did not.
Oh God.
The Apple TV Plus movie. But yes, I'm a diehard Jessie Buckley fan. So like, it brings me no joy to talk about this movie and how not great it is. I don't know. By the way, have you seen the Devindra? Have you seen this like controversy online about her opinion on Cats?
No,
like the musical.
The musical,
no.
Actual
although by the way, I would say The Bride is similar to Cats in that I felt similarly leaving the theater for both films.
I did not hear what did she say?
Like the actual animal is what you're
the actual
about.
Animal. So apparently, she's married and she was dating this guy, and the cat that he had hated her, apparently, like would leave like poop on her pillow or whatever. And so she basically said, hey, if we're gonna be together, you have to rehome your cat. And people are like, wow, that's really effed up that you made your significant other rehome their cat. And it's become a whole thing. And then she had to go on Jimmy Fallon and clarify, I don't hate cats, I love cats. Because
that one cat was a bastard.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah. I would.
Some cats are bastards.
You poop on my pillow. I'm not happy.
Yeah. But anyway, it's interesting because it basically like there's a lot of attention being given to these actors right now because it is Oscar voting time period, and so you're seeing a lot of analysis of like Timothée Chalamet and like Jessie Buckley's anti-cat ways, and it's like could these things swing?
Why would Timothée Chalamet go against the opera fans and the ballet fans?
Yeah.
You know how dedicated those people are.
Chalamet's going against opera fans.
Art forms.
Jessie Buckley's going against cat fans.
Don't poke that hive.
It's chaos out there.
It's chaos.
Yeah. All right. Spoilers.
Also, by the way, I also want to say I hated everything Christian Bale was doing in this movie.
Let's talk about that, Jeff, before we get to spoilers. And like, what did you hate about it?
Everything. Everything he did.
I'm going to need you to be a little more specific.
I do not like this like weird version of Frankenstein that he came up with that is like part gangster, part moron, part movie loving dancer. Like obviously
part
a lot of that's in the script
too. Like he doesn't fight back necessarily early on.
It's so like the way he speaks, the way like everything he does in this movie is just Again,
Jeff, this is the second Frankenstein depiction in the last 12 months that you have not been. Is it possible you just don't like depictions of Frankenstein? Period.
Wow.
Jeff? Because you did not like Jacob Elordi, and let me just say that was a very different take.
Getting very some different. Real anti-Frank vibes over here. Yeah, from Jeff. Yeah.
You know what's funny is I think the best. There's been a lot of Frankenstein stuff lately. I think my favorite Frankenstein movie of the last 5 years is I'm not gonna be able to.
Lisa Frankenstein.
Lisa Frankenstein. It's actually a fun movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like what Zoe Rose Bryant said on X about this film, The Bride. She says, when this ended, my mom asked me how it fit into the other one. And I was like, what are you talking about? And it was then that she revealed she'd watched the entire movie, assuming it was a sequel to Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, and Christian Bale played an older Jacob Elordi, end quote. Which,
to a certain degree, sure.
Love that.
Yeah, that could work.
Love that.
Yeah, headcanon totally works.
It doesn't conflict with anything that's happened in this film.
I will say this about the Christian Bale Frankenstein. People would walk into rooms and scream when they see him because he looks so horrific. He still looks like Christian Bale.
I know.
He's got some stitches, sure, but he has the jawline. He's the cheekbones. Like, he's a handsome man. Shut up.
No sense.
You're not screaming.
No sense.
What are you screaming for?
All right, let's get the spoilers for The Bride starting right now.
Can I tell you guys when this movie really, really lost me?
The first 5 minutes.
We're in the middle of the dance sequence in like the third act, right?
Which one, Devindra? Because there's multiple.
They're playing "Putting on the Ritz."
Okay.
It's like it's not enough just to play the song that references Young Frankenstein. Christian Bale has to shout "Putting on the Ritz."
Yeah, in the
he
same
has to shout it out.
"Put in the Ritz." He has to do. He's doing.
He has to do it.
It's ridiculous.
Just stop. Just stop.
All right, Jeff. What were you saying about how The Bride completely reverses her thing that she was looking for?
Well, so the movie really wants you to buy into this love story at the end, which at no point did I buy into. And you talk about the lack of chemistry between the actors, between the characters. I agree 100%. There was no chemistry, but also the movie goes to great pains to show you how he is manipulating her and lying to her and, confusing her, intentionally confusing her. And so I'm not on the page at all because the movie has done so much work to put me not on the page at all of them and their love romance. I'm not rooting for this grand, Bonnie and Clyde-esque romance that against all odds, they die in a hail of bullets at the end. And oh my God, the only thing I want is for them to come back to life so they can be together. Fuck you. No, I don't care. It's like shit. This guy has treated her like garbage and has lied to her throughout the entire movie about who she was, hid her actual reasons, like come up with fake stories about how he proposed to her. None of that is like authentic romantic truth that you root for with characters. So how do you expect me to be cheering at the end when, they get to come back to life? Oh, I love him more than anything. Annette Bening, do you love him? Yes. What? Since when? We all have this moment at the, the big moment at the drive-in before he gets shot in the head. She's basically like, I'm not your bride, dude. I'm my own woman. I'm my own thing. Like, none of it is this grand romance. And so I don't understand how the movie asks us to applaud for their, being together for what'd she say? Like to the end of time or something. It's like, what? Who cares?
Yeah, I guess that's true. But, my interpretation was that when he got shot in the head, it made her realize how much she really cared about him.
Yeah, sometimes you don't know what you have until it
gets shot in the head.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. What the easiest through line for any movie is a revenge story. And this movie feels like it actively even goes against the idea of like, maybe she should be mad at the people who killed her. Maybe we should like have that realization earlier. She gets her revenge on the freaking gangster. To me, that would be at least like a thing. By the way, Zlatko Buric. Once again, everything's coming up Zlatko.
Dude, amazing,
so much
amazing year for Zlatko Buric, who was in Superman. He was also in the original Pusher trilogy by Nicholas Winding Refn.
Yes.
Amazing series of films.
Everything.
He trimmed his hair for
is he
this
not
one,
in?
though.
Yeah,
he's in everything recently. But again, great stuff. We just never get into the fact that these guys killed her accidentally. Like, at least she should be a little mad. She should have some motivation to resolve what happened to her. Nothing. This movie doesn't go there at all. What are we doing?
The henchman who follows her and decides not to shoot her until he's in a place that he cannot escape. I like that. That guy's so smart.
Yeah.
The Bride.
The Bride. Also, dude,
You should say The Bride in the same way you say The Aristocrats, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing.
Talk about the movie and then say The Bride.
What
like
a mess
you say
this
The
is.
Aristocrats.
The Bride.
Also, how angry did it make you? It made me very angry when Peter Skarsgård is like, she was shooting in self-defense. I don't understand why everybody's mad. It's like, did you see the same scene that I saw?
Penelope Cruz is like, buddy. Like, yeah, she was swinging a gun around a whole crowd of people. Oh, this movie takes time to make fun of the name Penelope. How rude. How rude. To name an old lady would have. Penelope Cruz is right there.
I know, it's very funny. It's
Why?
like you literally cast a Penelope, dude. What, are you going to make fun of Annette next? What? Come on. The scene where Frankenstein's monster and his bride are like getting matching tattoos at the like that alone. I'm like, what are we doing here, movie?
What are we doing here? I saw this in the Joker movie once. Yeah.
Why was that your reaction, Jeff? What do you mean by that?
Okay, so we literally have at least two moments in the movie where someone just, as Devindra referenced, just seeing Frankenstein's monster loses their shit because they can't handle just the sight of him. And these two are going to stroll into a tattoo parlor.
They're also nationally wanted at this point. The tattoo artist would make money by calling them in, probably. Strolling. Yeah.
It's this movie is a total mess.
I think that my quote unquote favorite part of the movie was when Peter Skarsgård retires from shame.
Sarsgaard, guys. Sarsgaard. He's not a Skarsgård.
Sorry, Sarsgaard. Yeah,
Sarsgaard.
Because if there's one thing we know about cops in all of their depictions of popular culture, it's that they can be ashamed of their actions and they retire spontaneously.
The revelation that he's a dirty cop this whole time, just like coming out of complete nowhere. I'm a dirty cop. Oh, what? What? Okay.
And therefore, I'm retiring and bestowing upon you, Penelope Cruz, the rank of detective. I guess that's how it works. Maybe
you can do that. It's like a knighthood. Yeah.
Anyway, despite everything we have just said, okay, go ahead.
What the whole like reverence to movies and movie making and old timey dance, I don't even know how that fits into the movie. Like that's a whole. It gives so much time to them going to the movies and loving movies, and I don't even understand what that is supposed to represent. Or
also, the cops are finding you at the movies. Stop going to the movies. They're tracking you at the movies. Stop.
Well, despite everything we have just said, at the end of the day, it is impressive that Maggie Gyllenhaal made a movie.
You know what? Again, I say maybe not. Again, I say maybe not.
Disagree.
$90 million. $90 million to this.
Thank you so much for watching this video of the Filmcast. Check out these other videos that we have available, and be sure to hit like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to get other videos from us in the future.
You can also go to thefilmcast.com to catch all of our audio podcast versions of all of our episodes.
And support this podcast at patreon.com/filmpodcast, where you can sign up for ad-free episodes and exclusive After Darks.
Thanks so much to everyone who makes the Filmcast possible.